Hey, what's going on, guys? Bob Mentality here. Today I am bringing you another trade recap on Roku because if you watch my video I uploaded earlier this week, you know I've been having so much fun trading this name, have been making good money on it, and that fun has continued. So if you haven't seen the previous video where I recapped where I made over $1,000 on Roku this week, just check on my channel. It's about 2 videos back and you'll see that. And that video is going to leave off on this day right here. So the price action I'm going to be recapping for you today was the 11th right here and the 12th today. So Thursday and Friday. And yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into it. So as you know, we had the strong run up there. We saw into the horizontal consolidation. So my thought process was after seeing this where we have the high of the range set, the low, and that equilibrium pattern in the middle. What that showed me was we have not a nice consolidation and there is opportunity for Roku to make a move for that 108.47, which is the all-time high. We saw a huge reversal off the lows since that analyst downgrade. Now we're sideways. We have equilibrium. We can either break up and make a run for that 106, 108 again, or we can break down and we'll see 100. But I was pretty certain that after this day, whichever way we broke would be the way we would trend for the next few days, okay? And that's what I was looking for. So we'll go back to 5-day, 5-minute. We saw this range set up into the close, what I was looking for and what I spoke to my room about. And guys, if you are interested in joining a room that is focused on positivity and profitability, I recommend you join us, guys. We've been having a lot of fun trading Roku, trading Square, trading NVIDIA, trading pretty much everything, guys. Some of the airlines, we've been having a blast with that. And if you're looking to learn, that's where you should be at. So I'll have information for that in the description box below and on my Patreon. But what we were discussing was the plan for tomorrow, and what I said was, and I'll go to the 1 day, because of that horizontal close, I wanted the open. We were either going to break over the pre-market highs and see consolidation there over the VWAP, over the red to green, and see continuation up. Pretty much if we got over that 104.50 area, you'll see here, go back to the 5-day, this level right here. If we got over 104.50, we'd break that previous high, and it was pretty certain we'd find support there on pre-market highs, and then we'd rip up and we would just keep going and going and going, right? Now that didn't end up being the case. What ended up happening was we stuffed it and we sold off, as you see now. But that was my thought process going to the open. I want to see a break of pre-market highs and a hold. Well, what ended up happening here was right there into the open, we saw a huge rip to the upside, right? We did break the pre-market highs, and then we pulled straight back, right? And then just next minute candle slammed down through the red to green and then dumped from that all the way. There was a huge level of supply here. We broke the pre-market lows. So now I'm no longer thinking about the long. Now I'm thinking the puts. So what did I end up doing was here, once we got that bounce, because you don't want to chase the weakness down, guys. Wait for the bounce back into resistance. What was my reference level? As I outlined in chat the previous day, my reference level was going to be pre-market highs or pre-market lows in the red to green line. Which in this case line up perfectly, right? Right there with VWAP as well. So we saw this bounce here up into the 103.30. I went ahead and took 20 of the 102.50 puts at $1.15 because that was a very realistic time frame there. And I got the next day, Friday expiration. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking 10 off at $1.33 a contract from 115. So what happened was, and I'll do it frame by frame here. We saw after this bounce, we saw consolidation. I was up a little bit. Then we moved up here, and this is where I was down a little bit up into VWAP. So what I was watching was that red to green line, remember? Because if we would have found a base over that and a base over pre-market highs, we'd rip. So now I want to see where this trade, where this trade goes. After seeing such a strong bearish signal after the open, I really wasn't worried about it. But you always watch, because let's just say, for example, it didn't reject here and it ripped up to the 104 and kept going. Then I'm looking on the other side of the trade. I'll either hang on to my puts and just get the calls, or stop the puts and get the calls. Because at that point, we could just keep going. And even if I had the puts on, if I would have held the calls up to that 106, 108, I would have paid for the puts, absolutely. That's a little bit more advanced. But if we got this bounce up here into VWAP, and what ended up happening was we saw a double top into it and a pullback. Once I saw that pullback, I knew I was in the green, guys. At this point, my trade was back in the green. And click over a few more times, and then we saw first flush of these lows. Into that first flush, I'm always taking some off the table. Always, I'm taking some off the table. So in this situation, if I don't take all of it off, I take half. So I took half out, or half off there at the 133, okay? And then I took the other half off at 142 for a $450 profit. Now, we got this first flush here, and notice how it's immediately wicked back up. Next candle came out and then continuation dump, and we got this pullback here to around the 102.20, 102.40, and that's when I went ahead and took off my second leg. What I was doing was for the second half of the position, I was moving a limit order down manually, and it was a little too slow, and I got hit. I had planned to hold it for a little bit longer, but it's whatever, guys. I mean, you can't get upset about taking a profit, right? So I took the second half of that leg off for $1.42, and as you can see from there, we did see a little further consolidation to the downside. And then before then, once we got down to about $1, 101.50, we saw a rebound all the way back throughout the day. This is huge, guys. And the reason, and the thought process behind this, I'm going to explain, and that came into play for the next day for my game plan. But so remember, I got in the puts, I got in those 102.50s right here. We got the breakdown, took half off, and then took the rest off right into here for that $450 profit. Now, for the second trade, and this is what I really want to explain to you guys. This is the most important part of that video. So what happened was, we're going to look at these 3 days. Remember, this is equilibrium day. High, low, equilibrium in the close. I'm expecting whichever way we broke, we were going to trend that direction for at least 2 days, right? What ended up happening? This day, we got a fake out to the upside, immediate sell pressure, and continuation. And I expected us to roll over. What ended up happening? We didn't. We reversed and came all the way back up to a new high day. That tells me the bulls are not done yet, and this is being supported. So I continue to watch it. No more trades on this. We saw a pullback again to 102.75, push up over the 104 to close. And we closed right there around the 104.50. Remember, that was my breakout level I was referencing this day. We closed at 104.50. So now I'm thinking we're going to see that upside move. So what am I doing? I'm watching the same thing. I want to see if we can get over those pre-market highs, hold the red to green, which is the most important, and see if we can make that move up. So, especially since we saw the SPY gap up today, I was expecting bullishness on this one. Now, what we would not want to see is an immediate flush of red to green and then a rollover. Now, today was a little bit tricky. It was a Friday, so I always downsize on Friday. I want to be a little bit more cautious. And because, these options contracts, especially if you're trading same day, if it goes against you, they can drop quick. So you got to make sure you mitigate that risk. So today we saw a steady open here around the 104, pre-market prints around 104.90. I was very confident with this position, but then we started selling off into the open. And so now I'm immediately thinking puts on that red to green line. Remember, pre-market lows, red to green, they lined up. We saw selling here, a push up into the open, right? And when we get this small push, this is where I'm taking my puts, and I'm in the puts. I end up getting let me pull this up here. I end up getting 10 of the 104 strike puts. I wanted to be a little bit closer in case we did see a higher upside action, which we did. It faked us out. So I got the 104 strike puts at 74 cents, 10 of them. And I was up on those immediately. Then we saw this rip back up. It was a little bit red. Now, again, I'm watching this line. I know it likes to trade around the red to green just like it did the day before. So I'm watching this. Pull back here, I'm up again. Push up here, down again, pull back, boom, I'm up now. So I'm up nicely on these puts, right? I'm still watching. I want to see it reject VWAP. Push up here to VWAP. We get that reject and that crack into do the new lows on the day. I went ahead and set a limit sell there at $1, and then it got hit into this pullback right here. Now, what I want you to see is the fact that look at how quickly this was bought back up, right? And the second one was bought back up. When you start seeing signs like this, and exactly how I expected this to rip, but it didn't, we got that sell pressure immediately. You got to be careful with that. You need to notice the signs that that change day to day. So I went ahead and took this off a lot faster because when we saw this yank and this bounce, I was expecting us to completely roll over like we did on this day, right? The previous day, we rolled completely over once we got below that red to green. But today, that didn't happen. Today, we saw this immediate push back over red to green to fake everybody out, and then sellers came in and pushed it back down. So at this point, I wanted to go ahead and just take my profit and go ahead and hop out of this thing for a quick 35% and not have to worry about it, right? We'll end up, and it's a Friday. I've been green every single day this week. I was content with just taking that 35%. Now, immediately what happened after I got out there is we saw that quick wick back up to the upside, and we ripped all the way up to all-time highs, or not all-time highs, but highs on the day. So that you need to understand there's minor details that are going to change day to day, and they're going to give clues to what the price is going to do in the future. In this case, when I got in on the puts on the red to green reject, and then we held, that was one red flag. We pushed up, broke red to green, we stuffed, right? And then when we came down here and didn't completely roll over, that was the second one. At this point, I'm thinking that there's a potential there for the upside. So I went ahead and took my position off and was out of the trade. And then sure enough, we did come back up. This one today just chopped people's options to pieces. We did end up coming back down, but people were long and then they were short and they got trapped and then they flipped sides and they got trapped on the long side. So this was just chopping people up unless you got the backside based off that 106 resistance, which I did. And I was happy after this. I just took my money and walked. So those are the two trades I took here between today and yesterday on Roku, totaling for a $710 profit. I have not lost a single trade on Roku this week. Very excited about that. I've had pretty good reads on it. Today was a little bit wonky, but still it came out, guys. I came out on top. So that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions or, again, you're interested in joining my Discord, there's information, again, on my Patreon. You can comment below, shoot me an email, or you can hit me up on Instagram, and I will get back to you very quickly. Or on Twitter if you have any questions or if there's anything I can help you with. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Enjoy your Friday. I'm definitely going to go enjoy mine. Continue to stay focused on developing that bot mentality, which is the trading mentality, where you can learn to eliminate your emotions and trade like a machine, guys. I'm out of here. Deuces.